Hey everybody, happy Friday. It's your girl Claudia Jordan. And of course, like I said, it's Friday. We are back. We're here to spill the tea and break down the biggest headlines in the news and on social media. So sit back, relax, get you something to drink unless you unlocking your better self, like Funky says, but we don't really believe all that. And join us in the fuckery here. Please welcome Al Reynolds, who is newly licensed in the state of Texas. He will be your celebrity auctioneer and appraiser. What's up, Al?
Hey, what's going on, Claudia? I'm enjoying Texas. Oh, let's get to Q.
Right, he gets mad at us. And please welcome the man who claims to unlock his better self on show days only, Funky Dineva. What's up, Q?
Forget both of y'all hating assholes, okay? I unlocked my better self and it unlocked 3 more extra days a week for us, all right? So I got magic going on, the universe on my side. So instead of making fun, I suggest you get on board and start unlocking your better selves.
Oh God!
This is the same boy that was in Lucky's just 2 nights ago, everybody, and Miss Kenny dancing, giving his Donna Ross performance at 4:30 in the morning. Okay, unlocking your better self.
So I know people like to give us a hard time and say, "Oh, they're not letting him be great. They're just being mean." Y'all gotta fucking be kidding me. Have y'all watched the show? And if you think we got 5 days a week because these Negroes stopped drinking, you are beyond mad.
Right.
Part of us getting the 5 days was his drunk shenanigans. But anyways, once again, if you are joining us and you missed our show on Wednesday, which why would you? We made the announcement that we are now officially 5 days a week starting June 20th. We'll be 5 days a week of TGIF. So congratulations, fellas.
Congratulations, y'all.
I did see, remember last time I put out the bat signal to people saying, hey, if you have any ideas. And people, they suggested some things. So we're going to take everything in consideration, put them in a big pot. And we got some really cool segments that we're going to be getting to. I think you guys are going to enjoy the new setup. All right. Y'all ready for the weekend? Y'all, what y'all got planned?
Nothing, but I want to hear real quick about Al. Like, Al, what you gonna be selling? Ads? What you gonna be auctioning?
He's already done that.
Al got a big old high booty. You gonna be out there selling Al?
He does.
Do we? I thought he was. Unlock all your better self. Stop. Leave me out of your business.
I told y'all it was bullshit. But tell us about it. You're an auctioneer.
Yes. So now I'm basically licensed in the state of Texas now. The main thing that I'm going to be auctioning is like for charities, benefits, estate sales, fine art, luxury items, stuff like that. That's my goal. And guess what? I will be the first African American male celebrity auctioneer, licensed.
Okay. All right. You know, that's a good place to meet wealthy men, too.
Ooh, how do you know?
I'm assuming if you took the class for it, then it's
I forgot who I was talking to. You know, Claudia is quick as hell.
Well, we're going to pick you up and hang out tonight. I'm going to bring you some linguine and clams, white wine sauce that I just made. And Funky, we got to do something with you so you don't feel left out.
Fuck y'all. Y'all went there room. I don't get no more.
The evil bitch.
Bye. I go where I'm celebrated, not where I'm tolerated. Don't do me no favors.
First of all, Al.
I don't want to hang out with y'all geriatric, old, pushing 60 asses.
Ooh. Wait a minute, you turned 41 this year, sir.
I turned 40, heifer.
Looking 55, sir. So whatever. You know what's funny? He says all of that, but he loves us. So we're gonna make a trip. We're gonna figure something out. But you go on trips with yachts all the time and you invite us. So
those are local trips.
What? Just ghetto. All right, let's get to the show because the Lord has spoken. Azealia Banks is getting slammed on social media for implying that Jacky Oh's death was karma for DC Young Fly. In an Instagram story, Banks wrote, DC Young Fly spent years disguising his own deeply rooted hatred of self as jokes pointed at women's beauty. She continued, that Jacky Oh girl must have been so deeply insecure about herself, and the nerve of DC to call such a gorgeous woman as Azealia Banks ugly on national television while a bunch of Black people laughed, and ironically dead at 32, exactly on my 32nd birthday. You niggas are gonna learn to stop fucking with me. Al, I'm gonna go to you first. What do you think about this bird saying this about someone that just died?
Yo, listen, I got to be honest. You guys know I've defended her on this show before. In my mind, Azealia Banks was the next Little Kim, the next Nicki Minaj, the next big rapper on the come up. But this made my skin crawl. This spiral that she's in just makes me feel so sorry for her. This has to be one of the lowest things I've seen her do in a long time. And not just her, this is probably one of the lowest things that I've seen any celebrity do in a long time. And speaking of karma, I don't think it's very wise to wish death on anyone. I just think that's low class. I think it's sad. And listen, if you believe that strongly in karma, you wouldn't be saying these things right now.
Real quick before we go on and get Funky's take on this raggedy dusty bitch. People are pointing out in the chat, Funky, that you did not do the hand movement, and they said don't get 5 days a week and get all brand new. They still want the hand movement. Please welcome Funky Dineva. You may commence to go in on Azealia Banks. Please, what do you think about it?
Dog face ass heifer. Let me tell you something. Azealia is very insightful, right? I mean, she may have had something when she was talking about DC Young Fly's own internalized issues with the way he looks, but Azealia, you have the same issues. Take one to know one, because DC Young Fly's catchphrase is with your ugly ass. That's his catchphrase. You're not unique to the situation. He calls everyone that. And the fact that you took that to heart so bad suggests the fact that you battle with your own appearance. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like you don't deviate from what the media says is the standard of beauty in this country, because you do. And Azealia strikes me as the type of girl that the world has told her all her life that she was ugly, she was dark-skinned, she wasn't beautiful. And perhaps those things sting her a little more than they would sting other people. But mama, you showed up on a show that's completely centered around roasting people. And to think that you boiling cats and praying to God knows what or God knows who is the reason why this girl died is very flawed, in my opinion, because your career is also dead. And it would seem to me that you would use that same witchcraft to bring that career back into life, to bring yourself into favor with the masses, to bring yourself into some type of notoriety that's greater than you always beefing with somebody. This was a brand new low, and I want Azealia Banks to get some healing and some help.
I love what you said. I'm going to say this about Azealia Banks. Azealia Banks, I personally never thought you were ugly. I think you're actually take your personality out of things, and when you don't talk, I think you're actually a beautiful woman, like beautiful chocolate, and not beautiful for a chocolate woman. I just think she's a pretty girl. It's what you say and do that makes you an ugly, raggedy, dusty bitch. And I think you're confusing how the world has punished you as, they're not letting you in because you're not pretty. Or you don't think what you think they think pretty is. It's your personality. There's plenty of beautiful chocolate women that have made it. Plenty. And although we do have a problem in this country with colorism, we absolutely do. I'm not taking that away from you. You go beyond that. Mm-hmm. You because you are talented, you are insightful, you are smart, but your personality is also giving birth. And if you can't see how you have self-sabotaged yourself, like it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. They don't like me because of this, that, and the other. They ended up not liking you. Yes, you're right. But it's more really about your attitude. I really don't ever hear people saying anything about your complexion or your looks. I always hear people saying about your character. And while two things can be true at the same time, for sure, 1000%. But that show is a show on roasting. And you were talking shit before you went on that show. And then when you got on that show, they gave it to you. You don't go on that show until you're ready to give it as much as you gonna get it, and vice versa. You just can't. And you are shooting yourself in the foot. And to piggyback off the death of a woman who has 3 beautiful children and thinking that's some kind of payback for your beef with DC Young Fly when this woman had nothing to do with it, shame on you. Shame on you. And you're never going to have any level of success continuing with these whack-ass antics because you're acting like the devil. All right, moving on. Mr. Cheeto Man is facing yet another case of indictment on federal charges in an investigation into his handling of classified documents. Trump has been charged with a total of 37 counts, 31 counts of willful retention of national defense information, 1 count of conspiracy to obstruct justice, 1 count of withholding a document or record, 1 count of corruptly concealing a document or record, 1 count of concealing a document in a federal investigation, 1 count of scheme to conceal, and 1 count of false statements and representations. What are your thoughts on this craziness? And Trump once again is making history as the only president to be impeached twice in this indictment. And there's two more. There's more coming. Al, what do you think?
Listen, this 45th president of the United States is making history across the board. Let me give you a fun fact. A fun fact is after all of his criminal charges, he always sees a huge boom in his campaign supporters. After the New York indictment, his campaign announced that they raised $4 million in less than 24 hours, Claudia. How in the world can somebody be accused of sexually abusing women, money fraud, tax fraud, stealing stuff? We got a whole stealing documents, indictments out the wazoo. But you know what? None of it legally stops him from running for president. We still have not found a chargeable case in which it stops him from being able to run for president. And that right there is the problem. So I'm hoping that this district attorney or this, for Manhattan finds something to put this man in jail.
It's going to be the one in Georgia. I think that's his best case. Also, someone put a tweet up today that you can be a felon and run for president, but you can't vote, which is maddening. Funky, what do you think about this?
Listen, when you was reading them doggone counts, he got one doggone count of every doggone thing. I kept saying, dang, is Claudia going to stop? And speaking of him raising campaigns and heightened awareness in his in his campaign, his supporters are not supporting him on the basis of integrity. A lot of the people, not all, but a lot of them are supporting him on the basis of white supremacy. So no matter what he does, their support is not going to waver because white supremacy requires total loyalty as an institution in order for it to stay intact. I hope we see something. I'm not holding my breath as of yet. We're in for a lot. We've got this 2024 political campaign drawing near between him, DeSantis, Pence. Cornell don't got in the race. I am already taking my Prozac and my Xanax pills right now because my pressure, I know, is going to be through the roof. So I'm just going to sit back and watch this one and reserve my comments for if we actually get him close to a jail. Anybody can go to court, but can we get him close to a jail?
Right, Claudia, I'm sorry, I messed up, right? Because I said Manhattan, right?
Yeah, Florida.
Insurrection charges, correct? That we are hoping puts him in jail. Which charge are we hoping puts him in jail?
The strongest case is the Georgia case for election interference because it's caught on tape.
Okay, that's right.
Open and and it's a black.
Thank you for correcting that.
No, it's all good. Real quick before we go on, his supporters, like you said, Funky, they are so indoctrinated and so far in the cult. It doesn't matter what charges come out because they see everything as a conspiracy theory against him. So it makes them be like, we got to support our guy. The liberals are attacking him. They don't see logic, but the independents do. And amongst the independents, he's not polling well. So there are hope here because we can't rely on the white women that voted him for last time. Like they tricked us. All right. On the latest episode of College Hill, Amber Rose threw hands with Joseline Hernandez after Joseline was picking on her for being biracial. Now, after Amber Rose opened up about not fitting in with either race, Joseline said, "You really want to be a white girl," which resulted in Amber attacking Joseline. Are you shocked to hear that Amber Rose squared up with Joseline Hernandez? And can you blame her, Al?
Ooh, this is a tough one because you guys, I support Amber. I like her a lot. But let's examine the facts. When that video resurfaced that she does not identify as African American, it just made me feel some kind of way. You're sitting up here on a African American network, BET. You're sitting there at a historically black college. And if we're really honest, I think her career has been built around attracting black women to follow her, black men to feed her, or to support her or make her relevant in the black community. The black community has always kind of held her in this revere. This was just very hard for me because honestly, I don't like seeing two black female influencers of the culture fighting on television. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the fighting on Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm tired of the fighting on Love and Hip Hop. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of seeing very wealthy, successful Black women fighting on television. It has got to change because it's setting a precedence that is leading our young people to not know how to handle conflict. Something's got to change in the culture.
I hear you. All right, Q, what do you think?
You know what? And we're going to have to save this for one of our deeper dives. The conversation here is not about Amber Rose and Joseline Hernandez fighting. The real conversation here is about biracial identity in the midst of Black spaces, right? That's the conversation that we need to have. And Amber Rose, although she is biracial, she is very, very light and can acquire all the privileges of being a white woman if and when she wants to, but lean in. She's close enough to Black culture to lean in and harness those powers as well. So there's a much deeper conversation we need to have in addition to that of Joseline, who says that she is a Black woman, but also reaps benefits of being Latino or Afro-Latino woman and not quite Black like me Black, whatever. So there's a greater conversation that we need to have at a greater date, but it's sad that this happened on their show.
It is. And, everyone knows my mom's from Italy, and I've always said I'm a Black girl since I was little. I never had that issue of not knowing what I was. It was always other people telling me what I was not enough of or too much of, which is very frustrating. I'm going to tell you, growing up like that, it makes you feel very defensive. I know I'm a defensive person largely in part of that, because I feel like I'm always like having to prove myself. Like when I was in college, I felt like I had to prove myself I was extra Black. I joined the gospel choir. I was in the Black Student Alliance. I put together a nonviolent vigil when the Rodney King verdict dropped. I felt like I was always trying to like get the approval of my fellow brothers and sisters, which is a horrible way to live. It's a horrible way to exist because it's like, it's never enough. And then I see comments in the chat all the time telling me that you don't belong here. You ain't Black enough, which is really heartbreaking to people like me. I'm not like Amber Rose. I've always said I'm Black, but I will say this kind of in her defense. Anyone that knows anything about the Cape Verdean culture, which a lot of my friends on the East Coast are Cape Verdean, their parents are the generation above us, are older than us, are very racist. They think that being Black and dark skin is a horrible thing. They're on the West Coast of Africa. They encourage their kids to marry whites and to dilute their Black blood because they think they'll be accepted more in the world. They are so fucking backwards thinking. I hate it. I hate it. I have a friend who's dark skinned, one of my best friends also, and she calls herself the Black sheep of the family. She's a beautiful brown girl. And she said it was just so tough because she always felt like she wasn't worthy. So I'm thinking Amber Rose's family was like that, but you've been here long enough, and to piggyback off you, Al, she has benefited off the Black culture. Right. So it would behoove her to not publicly say things like that.
Right. Okay, we're on the same page then.
Yeah, no, for real. But I just want to give the backstory of the Cape Verdean culture. They're very hostile. Not all, but they definitely. It's one of those places like it actually disgusts me when I used to hear some of my friends' parents speak. All right, coming up next, an Atlanta rideshare company has a shocking new policy. And later, find out why Chris Paul's daughter is being bullied. It's a really interesting reason. We'll be right back. All right, y'all. An Atlanta-based rideshare company is catering to folks who specifically want to hire armed drivers. The rideshare app is called the Black Wolf app, and the owner claims to have clients from the political realm to the everyday blue-collar worker. Now, this offer comes as a result of the rising crime rates in the city. Now, where do y'all stand on this? And when you use this app with armed drivers, Q, let's go to you first.
You know what? I think in principle, it's a great idea until the armed driver turned that armed weapon onto riders. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only place. And then too, I understand that there's a rise in violence in Atlanta, but to this point, I have not heard enough about people being ambushed and or bamboozled in Ubers enough to justify you needing a driver with a gun. Then my next question would be, what is the driver protecting? Just you while you're inside the vehicle? Because once you exit the vehicle in rideshare situations, the driver doesn't get out. So I don't know. It seems a bit unnecessary. And as we start moving forward with all these lax gun laws and everybody wanting to tote guns, I just don't know where I'm at with it. I think that the person probably would be better off just carrying their own weapon versus getting in a ride share with the driver carrying one if they're not your paid security.
Okay. Al, what do you think?
It's a no for me. I can't even trust police to protect me, more or less an Uber driver who I don't know what his background is, how he got that gun, is he licensed? So it's a no for me. I'm not comfortable.
You know, when I think about lately, I take a lot of Uber, especially like I've been spending like a lot of time in New York, right? I think about it like when like if I get into an Uber by myself, say after a club or a event where I've been drinking, I think about it. How crazy is it that I'm in a guy's car that I do not know just because he signed up for Uber? You could be a total predator, rapist, murderer, and just let the victim just come to your car. Like it's probably the best gig for someone that wants to be a stalker. They know where you live now. They have your information. It's when I think about Uber and what's out there, how many crazies are out there, it's really scary actually. So them with a gun, I'm with you fellas. I don't know. Because we're already kind of taking a big risk every time we get in one of those things. What's stopping them? All right, a brawl took place at a 7-Eleven in Texas. Oh, we trying to catch up to Florida. After 2 employees refused to sell a cigar to an underage girl, the underage girl left in a rage and returned to the store with a group of friends and immediately jumped the employees. Please don't be... They are. Now, this is not the first story we've heard lately of kids jumping their elders. Are you surprised? I'm going to go to you, Funky, because we know how you are about kids and fighting.
You know, y'all know I fight kids, and I'm here to tell y'all something, and I mean this wholeheartedly. If that man would have shot the shit out of each and every one of their ass, he wouldn't have been wrong. He wouldn't have been wrong. And y'all want to get on the news and then y'all want to start to cherry pick what constitutes should have shot them versus what shouldn't have, when they shouldn't have been shot. If that man would have shot the shit out of each and every one of them children, I'd have sit up here and said, Claudia, go on to the next thing. And it's not because I don't see value in young Black life. It's because I don't see value in the way that y'all raising y'all damn children. Again, all of us on this panel were 13, 14, 16 at one time. I would have never done that. I just would have never done it. Me and my friends would have never done it. There is something in the air and something about the way, I have to put it on my generation, the way my generation has raised their children that has them acting like this, and it's unacceptable.
Yes, I listen, I don't fight kids, but I will fight these motherfuckers. Those are some badass kids. Those are some future murderers. The boldness to jump people on camera in a store.
Imagine how scary that has to be. You're at a 7-Eleven, you're probably by yourself, and then you're surrounded by 5 or 6 hostile kids. I'd have shot the shit out of each and every one of them.
That's right. Al,
you know, luckily, what? I'm sorry?
I said, are you team fight these kind of kids?
You know, luckily, you know, this is probably one of the only stores that has a no weapon policy. 7-Eleven has a no weapon policy for its owners as well as its employees, and a good thing for this case, because these young kids and how they behave, they need to be arrested. And not only do they need to be arrested, I keep saying this over and over on here, they need to lock these kids up and they need to make their parents take some form of accountability, because the underage chaos that's going on, the rapid increase of this underage chaos has something that, you know, we're at the point now that something has to be done, because it's causing very unsafe scenarios. And like Q said, if they were not at 7-Eleven and another store, especially like a New York City bodega, a gun would have come out and they would have been physically harmed, if not killed. And that's not good.
7-Eleven people. 7-Eleven people. Listen, if y'all see a rise in crime and robberies, it's because Al done told the whole damn world that y'all's workers ain't got no damn guns. And basically, if you want to go rob somewhere and act unruly, 7-Eleven makes a great place to go because they ain't got no weapon policy. Thanks to Al.
But you know what? Then not only do they not have weapons, but 7-Eleven also must give over all cash when commanded to do so.
Oh my God, you're totally setting them up.
Robbery people. Robbery people. Work ain't honest, but it pays the bills.
I always say I don't want to live too close to a 7-Eleven because 10 times out of 10, 7-Eleven is always a hotbed for crackheads. There's always crackheads at 7-Eleven. It don't matter where you are. I've been at 7-Elevens where there's homeless people outside, crackheads, not unhoused, whatever, and can't say anything anymore. Crack, yeah, lots of crack addicts out there.
Al, how aggressive I gotta be when I demand the money? I'm trying to see something.
So you know what, Q? That's a good question because allegedly, now I used to work beside a 7-Eleven. This is how I came to know that they used to get robbed a lot in DC. So the manager told us that when they ask for that money, they're supposed to give the money, and then they've gotten aggressive now because they want, you know how 7-Eleven puts the money and sucks it down into a safe that's in the ground? Mm-hmm. You know, if they're aggressive enough, Q, they're supposed to release those funds as well.
Mm.
So Al, when I pick you up tonight,
we're gonna ride by a 7-Eleven. Not me, girl. I'm light skinned. I'm not going to jail.
Oh yeah, and you got that booty.
Oh, wait a minute.
Like, all right. Speaking of kids that need an ass whooping, a group of teens in New York City stole an 8-year-old boy's earrings from his lemonade stand. The teens waited until the boy's back was turned and snatched his money jar containing around $150. The boy stated, "I feel disappointed in humanity." It turns out the boy was raising money for an animal shelter. What do you think about this story? Wait, earrings? There's a lot going on here. Al, what do you think about it?
Earnings.
Oh, yeah.
You want to know what's funny? When we were reviewing the stories, I was reading earrings too, and I read the story twice, trying to figure out I thought the earrings was in the tip jar because when they first said earrings, I'm like, did they attack the little boy or did someone tip him in earrings? So Claudia, you ain't off.
Okay, thank you. Because I was like, earrings, okay, hey, I agree with that. Maybe there's another turn to this story. All right, Al, since you know about this, earnings, earrings, whatever. I'm kind of disappointed with it.
Not earrings, Ernest. You know what? The story just broke my heart. I thought it was horrible. I thought it was disgusting. I thought it was low life. I go back to these kids in my mind, you know, need to be parented better. I feel like this younger generation, I feel like the parenting is coming from television programming, music lyrics, media programming. I think there's a large influence from social media. I think there's a strong lack of parenting, and that has got to change if we're going to do better. A young man who has a lemonade stand now has to be afraid that he's going to be attacked by his peers for selling lemonade. Like, this is unacceptable. I think they should find those kids, make an example of them, and charge them and their parents. Make them all accountable.
In the chat, T. Renee says, you can't commit no crimes around Al. And It's Really Me says, Al gonna get all the 7-Elevens robbed this weekend. And then Papa Lisa says, Al's booty is luscious. Okay, Q, what do you think about this? I want to know why these kids, none of these kids afraid of their parents?
Right.
Listen, the people ain't gonna like it, but somebody should have shot the shit out of their ass. You know what I'm saying? Listen, just shoot the shit out of everybody. You cannot. Listen, I have a hard time, and I know that's excessive, right? But I have a hard time just feeling bad for people who catch hands and or stray bullets when they go off and do wrong things. If that boy's mama or daddy was sitting in the car watching their child do the lemonade stand and y'all was over there, you know, they didn't know if y'all was going to attack the boy or they should have shot the shit out of y'all ass too. It's going to take somebody shooting the shit out y'all children or knocking the shit out of their ass before they act right. They just won't do right. And I'm sorry, when you steal money from an 8-year-old child, it strikes the same chord in me as when you take an old elderly woman's purse.
I agree.
Like, don't go to 7-Eleven. Al don't told y'all ass y'all want the money. Go down to 7-Eleven where they won't shoot the shit out of y'all ass, okay? But don't be taking money from little kids. That's not cool.
That's where our show has come to, where we are advising people to go rob 7-Eleven.
And shoot the hell out of little kids.
Shoot the shit out of little kids. We're going to put that on a t-shirt. All right, yo, coming up next, is it overwhelming to accomplish all things at once? And later in the show, find out why Chris Paul may carry the blame for his daughter getting bullied at school. Stay tuned. Al and Funky, I think our viewers got lazy with the likes because like now that they know we got 5 days a week, they're getting all spoils because we have like almost 5,000 people in the chat. Only 1,200 likes. Like that is ridiculous. No,
Claudia, I'm gonna give them a break because the thing that the big bike girls did for us, like, them big strong backs changed our lives. But I ain't gonna light y'all ass up tonight. But just as a courtesy, just go ahead and hit that like button for us, please.
What? A tender moment from Funky.
All you Honda drivers, hit that light.
If you want Al to be your auctioneer, if you a crackhead at a 7-Eleven, hit the like.
Oh, okay.
That should take us over. No? Okay. All right, y'all. Let's get into this. Charging higher interest is how banks make more money, and they take a lot more of your hard-earned money if your credit score is just okay but not great. Now, ScoreMaster, the new science in accelerating credit scores, puts you in control of your money, not the bank. Say if your credit score is 650 and you're borrowing $500 to refinance your home, starting at ScoreMaster could save you over $75,000 in interest over the life of your loan or more. That $75,000 is your money, not the bank's. That's the genius behind the ScoreMaster 3-week rule, especially now with these high interest rates. Now, it only takes a minute to get started, and you can add 30 to 100 points in about 3 weeks, depending on your credit file. So before you apply for any loan, auto lease, or credit, start at ScoreMaster. Go ahead and visit scoremaster.com/T, that's TEA, to try ScoreMaster for free. That's right, you get it for free. Visit scoremaster.com/T, that is scoremaster.com/T. Fellas, I know we grown up, we getting more paychecks because we got more days of the week and houses and bigger purchases are on the horizon. Hugh, I know you're looking at homes. What do you think about this?
So, I told y'all that I would keep y'all updated with it. I forgot when I started. It's been well over 30 days. And I will say that I have done some of the suggestions made, not all, and I have witnessed an increase to my already over 700 credit score. So I definitely think, the girls out there, especially you lower tier girls, the real basic like girls, I definitely need to get that ScoreMaster to get that score up.
Okay. Thank you very much. Al, next we're going to talk to you about your situation. All right. Promotional consideration furnished by ScoreMaster. Let's get back to the topics. All right. Let me get your thoughts on this tweet. I don't know who needs to hear this, but y'all got to take things one step at a time. You frustrated because you're trying to do it all at once. You're trying to lose weight, buy a house, rent, practice meditation, vacation, practice gentle parenting without gentle children, work 9 to 5 p.m. with 2 hustles on the side, date, clean house, cook, and save. You're only one person, one thing at a time, my baby. Do y'all ever feel like you're trying to accomplish too much at once? Al, let's go to you on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's natural and I think it's okay to want to do better and be better and have better than maybe your parents or the environment that you come from. But at the end of the day, I think the key here is to be safe and try to steer yourself away from doing things that are peer pressured, like that pushes you over the edge of legality, that pushes you over the edge of safety. Like for instance, cosmetic surgery, because social media has you feeling like you have to have a small waist and a big ass. And then you're putting your life at risk. Fraudulent credit card schemes, money laundering, identity theft, because you want to be out here balling in the clubs and buying shoes and bags like that. And even trapping. I just feel like we got to be very careful. It's okay to have ambition and to have goals, but I think it's very crucial, especially with the influence of social media, that it be a perspective, that it be in the right perspective.
All right. Very well. Thank you so much. Q, what are your thoughts?
You know what? This thing actually hit home with me because there was a time in the not so distant past where I fell victim to feeling like I need another business. I need another business. And I literally was out here on the verge of signing papers to get a food truck. A friend had told me you needed XYZ amount of dollars. And then I thought about it right before I got ready to sign these papers to get this used UPS truck that I was going to have to put $70,000 into to convert into a food truck. I was like, Q, that's not even what you do. And I was like, you're going to be at the bar on a Friday night and somebody going to be like, the food truck ran out of chicken and you're going to tell them people close it down. You know what I'm saying? And then I thought to myself, I said, Q, you haven't even maximized the income potential on what it is you already do. So how you going to go over here and open up a whole nother business that's completely outside of the realm of what it is you do? So yeah, we all from time to time can fall victim to this type of thing. And I am so glad that I was able to rein that in and focus, Quentin, focus.
I was talking about this the other day with friends of mine about like how perfect or how many qualities, especially as women in relationships, we're supposed to be bringing to the table. You have to be sexy, but you have to be classy. You have to be good in bed. You can't have too many bodies. You have to have a good job. You got to be a helper, but you also have to let them be a man. You got to, be this height and this weight and have this waist size and then this butt size and then this kind of hair and then these lashes. And it is exhausting. It is exhausting. And then on top of that, you got to have your own money. You have to let a man lead. It's just so many things. And I'm just like, are we making life more complicated than it needs to be? I think we are. And I blame a lot of it on social media. I really do. We see other people's lives and we think we have to have all these things. Humans aren't really made to just have all those things. Humans are just made to human, have emotions, survive, provide for their kids, reproduce. We've made it so complicated where if you have one thing off this incredibly long list, you're deemed not worthy. You have all those things. Oh, but you're 50. You're too old. You don't deserve love. You too old. You lucky anybody want to even holler at your old ass. Or, you have bad toes or you're still renting. Like people will criticize you for one small thing that's not on their list. And the people criticizing us don't have none of that shit on the list. That's the gag. I just wish we could be a little bit easier on each other. You know what I mean? I really do, because it's really a lot of pressure to put on each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people justify criticizing us. Well, y'all on TV talking about people. We talk about what y'all make trending. That's what we do. It's nothing personal. All right, keep it locked, because coming up next, Chris Paul may be the reason his daughter is getting bullied, and later find out what crime a man committed for fun. Stay put. GIF, shout out to the soulmates in the chat. We see y'all getting us over 2,000. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all spreading the word about us as well. Like we really do. It does not go unnoticed. So thank you so much. All right, y'all. In a recent interview, Chris Paul shared that his daughter is being bullied at school because he hasn't won an NBA championship. He claimed a little boy in his daughter's class came up to her and said, "Your daddy ain't never gonna win no championship." Do you think that is coming from the other kids' parents? And wait a minute. Tonight seems to be a theme of badass kids, right? Is tonight just all about badass, raggedy ass, mean ass, misbehaved kids? Sorry, Al, I gotta go to Q because Q hates kids. So go ahead, Q.
Well, this story don't warrant nobody shooting the shit out of this kid. So this one gets a pass. I'm gonna tell you something now. When I read this story, I was expecting. I don't like the use of the word bully now on social media, right? Because when you say bully to me, I was expecting him to give me a long story about kids consistently picking on her, a group of kids chanting, "Your daddy sucks." It's one kid saying your dad didn't win a championship or your dad sucks or whatever it is he said hardly constitutes bullying by the measure in which you measure bullying when we were in school. So, Chris, I get that you needed something to say to be a part of the team. This is part of the cost that it costs to be your daughter and the privileged life that she lives. And this is more of a teachable moment for her versus bullying. One statement don't constitute bullying. I don't know if she was getting picked on by more than this and he just extrapolated this one. But this ain't giving bullying to me.
Yeah, if it's one kid, I'm like, I think bullying gets overused. But if you're a kid, I guess you do feel responsible. Al, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I'm like Q. That word bully just creates some type of energy in you, right? And that means you want to protect. But I feel like Chris Paul needs to teach his daughter how to talk smack. Listen, I would have said, listen, my daddy, we worth $160 million. He's a 9-time NBA All-Star. He's named NBA first team 4 times, second team 3 times, third team 1 time. He's won 2 Olympic medals for Team USA. Listen, you got to teach her how to put him in his place. Let him know your dad is the bomb.com and your dad ain't nothing close to it. And if that doesn't work, Chris Paul, honestly, you have enough money to change it. Look, either you can homeschool that kid, you can take that kid to a different private school, you can change districts, you got so much money, you can change states. I don't have any empathy in this space about this kid getting bullied by one person. I don't like the word bully. I would just say smack talking.
The soulmates are chiming in saying he didn't say bullied, he said tease, and that he actually said it wasn't bullying. So let's just say that.
Oh, that's better.
I will say this. When I was in school, everyone had something that you can make fun of. We didn't have a lot of money, so we always got the video, like the whatever trinkets were out. We got them late. Our clothes weren't like everybody else. You know what I mean? We weren't getting the newest stuff. We didn't look bad, but everyone had something they picked on. There was the overweight kid. There's a kid with the thick glasses. There's a kid that had the skippies, the shoes. What it did for us growing up, and maybe. Am I Gen X? What am I? Gen X? I don't know. Whatever the 70s and 80s people are, it made us be fighters. It made us be able to have coping skills. It made us be able to clap back and say, oh, okay. If I was that little girl, I'd be like, oh, you're talking about my NBA daddy that the world knows? Where does your daddy work? How big is your mansion? I would have clapped back and I would have been really petty. It just helps you be like, have better coping skills when you get older. I think when we baby people and call everything, and to his defense, he didn't say bullying. When everything's a thing, oh, you made fun of my kid's shoes. Back in the day, that's what gave you character. That's what gave you character. Funky, look at your personality. I am sure you were picked on as a kid.
It birthed this.
It birthed this, exactly. I was picked on by some people, and I am a quick clap backer. And we have made careers off this. Al, we kind of teach you to read. You seem like you had a pretty nice life growing up, so you weren't as traumatized as us probably. But I'm just saying, I think I understand I do commend these parents for wanting a soft life for their kids. But it's at their detriment when everyone gets a participation trophy and everything's a thing. You're making them soft and weak, and then they can't fight back. Yo, read that little kid down, little girl, Chris Paul's daughter, because you got it going on. I'm sure your life is better than that little kid that was talking trash about your daddy. All right. A video went viral showing a white man's face during his first time at a black game night. Watch this clip. I'm wondering if that's how my mom looked when my father first brought her here from Italy. First cookout, like, what is this? What are your thoughts on his reaction, Al? What do you think about it?
The best part is I can relate to this. My mother's side is very loud and crazy. My dad's side is very kind of like proper and subdued. But I remember this one time that I brought, I'm always, you guys know me, I always will bring a white friend around. And I had one white friend who was just like, is everything okay? Are they mad at each other? I mean, do we need to break this up? Like, is it? And that to me was the exact face that he was giving. Like, okay, am I supposed to celebrate? Am I supposed to laugh? Am I supposed, to be happy? And so I really like this. It really gave me a warm feeling. And it always gives me a warm feeling to see how us as Black people, we always accept any and everybody into the room. We make them feel invited. We make them feel welcome. And we're just naturally loving as a culture.
I do like that. I do like if a white person can do something that Black, like kind of good or even half, not even half, really even that good that we do naturally, we give them so much props. That's how white entertainers are so celebrated by Black people, like that do dabble in soul or hip hop. We embrace them. And I wish the majority white folks, I wish they could do the same thing with us and not try to block us out of country music and all that kind of stuff. Q, what you think about this and his reaction?
You know what? His reaction was funny, but I'm not going to lie. I'm a bit on edge in this racial and political environment that we're in, and I was slightly triggered. And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
He was standing up against that wall looking scared, like something was about to happen or that his safety was in jeopardy. And it just made me lean into the fact that a lot of white people, in my opinion, are inherently scared of us. And for what reason, I do not know. And so then it sent my mind down a whole other rabbit hole about implicit bias and so on and so forth. And if he was a police officer, he probably would shoot first and think later. And I got stuck in that vortex. But I am glad that the Black man had the emotional intelligence to put his arm around him, make him feel comfortable, and he lit up. But I really would like to interview this young man and ask him, what did he think was going to happen, and why did he look so nervous up against that wall?
Claudia, isn't that interesting how Q interpret that? Like, I definitely didn't interpret that like that. And I think if you have the experience of knowing both sides of the experience, then you would have a little bit more grace and you wouldn't be so anxious. I saw in his face like a look of, is everything okay? Because in his family, you could tell it was never that jovial. It was never that loud. It was never that fun. Like this, he looked like, okay, is everything okay? Or is there something wrong? That's what I got out of it. How about you, Claudia?
We do be loud sometimes. And with all the racist, like the pressure cooker that America's been recently, I can see why you feel like a way like, oh shit is about to go down. I don't really know. But I would think he has love for them if he's there with them. I would think he's not one of those, you know what I mean? Like one of the racist cops. He's down with us, right? It probably was just I would imagine being white now amongst the Black crowd with how sensitive things have become and how easily triggered. They probably have to constantly think, I can't say this, I can't say that, I can't say this, if you're, right, not in the business of wanting to be racist. So good conversation. All right, y'all, coming up, a man's version of fun may lead him behind bars. You don't want to miss this one. We'll be right back. GIF. Ariel, a man recorded himself driving through a random nice neighborhood while shooting his gun at the homes. It is unclear whether the man has been found or arrested. What are your thoughts on this craziness? Q, I see you shaking your head. What do you think about this ridiculousness?
When I saw it, I 100% hate it. I hate even more that we're covering the story and that other media outlets are covering the story, because my fear is that this is going to become a trend with other young individuals. And that is scary, because there once used to be a time where you could move to a nice neighborhood and that meant you didn't have to worry about stray bullets coming through your window or through your door. And if that's taken away from us, like so many other securities have been taken away from us in nice neighborhoods, then if you can't live behind a gated community in a nice neighborhood, where the hell could you go?
Right. It's really scary. Imagine you're home. Like I moved to a nice neighborhood. People drive down the street. It's not a lot of traffic, but imagine someone just randomly shoots through the glass and shoots me, kills me or my cats, or if I had friends over here. Oh, right on cue. Look at, he said, not me, girl. You ain't shooting me. All right, Al, what do you think about this?
Listen, another minor situation. It's not stopping. It's only getting worse. I think the only way that we can stop this is that I feel like we have to make the parents accountable in some way. We've got to figure out a way to complete this type of ridiculous behavior for minors. We just got to think of something. I
agree, because like it starts at home, and if y'all, I would be so afraid that my parents would be mad at me doing this for my mom.
Sorry.
All right, y'all, take a look at this tweet. What's the worst way you ever got dumped? Al, let's start with you.
I've never been dumped. I've always, and let me repeat, I have always done the dumping.
Every single time, Al?
Pretty much.
Ooh, when it happens for the first time at 52, you'll be fucked up. You? What about you?
So in my committed relationships, I've never been dumped. It's either been amicable split or I walked away. But in a dating situation with somebody that I was getting close to one time, this actually happened pretty recently. We went out to an event, and we are a live music event, and we're sitting on the sofa, we were talking, an occasional makeout. The event was over. He got up to use the bathroom and then left and blocked my number. And me and my friends were standing out there for 30 minutes waiting for him, trying to figure out where he was. And he just like ghosted me.
I think ghosting is the most cowardly way to break up with someone.
Oh, and then a club promoter a couple weeks told me later he was in his club, and I drove all the way from Miami to Fort Lauderdale with my homegirl to try to fight him.
I was on FaceTime with this guy who had me on FaceTime 22 hours out of the day. He was a ball player, right? And I was like, wow, he spends a lot of time with me. He was telling me how much in love with me he was. He said he's going to lunch with an old friend of his. When he went to lunch the first day, he went back the second day and had lunch with this person again, proposed to the girl while he was with me, and we had plans to be together in Miami 2 days later.
Ooh, child.
Help me lose weight, though. Anyways, he's still a whore. I want to thank my co-host, Al Reynolds and Funky Dineva. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Stay tuned for Black Water Horse Movies. Catch it on our YouTube channel and website. We will see y'all next week. And y'all have a safe weekend. And yeah, be good. Be good.
Bye, soulmates.